Hey cherries, it's Jessica here and welcome back to the Cherry on Top YouTube channel. Today's video is part of our Technique Tuesday video series where each month we focus on a new technique, and this month we are focusing on journaling cards. So today I'm using journaling cards to make tags with. I love making tags, and especially around the holidays, because I'm not a big card making person and I never know what to write on the inside of the cards, but I love adding a tag because I'll substitute it for a card because it adds that homemade, personalized gift, but I don't have to do a lot of journaling on the inside, which isn't my strong suit, especially when I'm mass giving out gifts. So these will be super cute on a wrapped gift with a nice big tag. And I'm using journaling cards because I like that it just has the image already made on it, and then I just do some light embellishing around it, and I feel like it's quick and it's easy. And when I'm making these, I like to go through most of my embellishments and try to use them up and make as many tags as I can from them. I really like to make chunky tags, so I add a lot of layers and a lot of foam and dimensional items as well. I am using products from the Graphic 45 Let's Get Cozy collection, and I've been wanting to use this collection for a while. All of the Scandinavian looking designs just really drew me into it. My family is from my mom's side is from Sweden, so what I was thinking of doing with these tags is actually gifting them to my mom. She likes to make some gift baskets with traditional Swedish foods and hand them out at our family Christmas party, so I thought that these would look really cute with them. And that's also why I thought it would be cute with the Tim Holtz card file. I showed it really quickly in the beginning, so I can just stack them all in there so it has the nice presentation of a gift. If you haven't used the Graphic 45 flower assorted pieces yet, I highly recommend it. When you start laying out the pieces, it doesn't seem like much, but then as you start stacking them up, they look really cool. I like to use a paper shaper and this foam block to give these pieces a bit more dimension, and I think that's what really makes them cool. Sometimes I'll also ink up the edges of them, but these had more dark colors, so I didn't think you'd see the ink quite as much, so I didn't ink any of these, but I would definitely not skip the ruled paper and making it dimensional step. This is part of the Sizzix paper sculpting set, and it comes with a few other tools in there too, but it is one of my go-to tools that I always have on my cart, especially for things like this where adding the dimension just adds so much to it. So here's all my finished flowers, and I like to just make all the flowers, so then as I'm embellishing the tags I don't have to stop and figure out a flower arrangement that I want to make. I can just grab the flowers and work with them. So like you see with this tag, I have a bit of layering going on, and I've popped things up with foam, and then the flowers, so it really doesn't have a lot going on. It's just the dimension and then the flowers popping out. And this is how I plan to create most of these tags. When going through them, I am trying to use the journaling card as the base of it, and then I am working around and adding some flowers and some ephemera pieces as needed. And all the ephemera pieces I like to pop up on foam like this little rabbit. I want him lifted off of the background, so I'm making sure to pop him up on the foam. Some of the tags that I'm using were pre-made tags on mixed media paper, so some of them I painted, some I already had pre-painted, and then I can just change the tone a little bit by adding ink, like how I'm doing with this card. Other ones I already had painted the right color, so I just left it. And I'm also grabbing pieces from the collection pack and using that on these designs as well. I hope to use this collection more, so that's why I got the whole collection pack, but you could also use the 8x8 collection pack, and that would work great for making tags like this. Although I didn't use a ton of mixed media on these cards, I still wanted to have that little bit of mixed media feel, so I feel like having some painted backgrounds here and there with a little bit of color variation adds a bit to these tags. So I had some of the tags like that were pre-made tags, and then I have other tags that I cut out using some tag dies. And I know I've got a few different types of tag dies, and they're one of my most used dies. So I recommend investing in some, especially if you make tags all the time. And even if you don't, I find I use the tag dies on scrapbook layouts or cards pretty frequently. Here's an example of one that I die cut out, and then I'm also placing it on top of a pre-made tag, and then I'm just cutting it to shape it a little bit. I wanted to have a range of sizes of tags for this, just because I thought that when they're displayed in the card file that it would look kind of weird if they were just all the same size going through. So that's why I wanted a bit of that variation. And really, it was the pages like this with the dollar horses on it that really drew me to this collection, because my grandma and my mom, and really just everybody in our family on my mom's side, have these dollar horses that they got from Sweden. So I made sure to include all of the paper designs and journaling tags and ephemera that had these dollar horses on them into these tags. And I'm also planning on fussy cutting some of these horses out of the papers that have them and sticking them on the back, just in the back corner, so it's subtle but it's there, and it'd be next to where you'd write the to and from, and it'd just be on the back, and I think it's cute to have a little hidden thing like that. I love it when you can find a paper collection that just speaks to you and that you're really excited to work with, and that then you can personalize it and make it work with your own family. And that's one of my favorite things about paper crafting and scrapbooking. I also plan on adding some metal elements and some twine and ribbon to these tags as well, but I like to work assembly line style, so right now I'm just gluing on all of the ephemera and the journaling cards, and then I'll come back and add some more embellishments to all of them, and also fill their holes at the top with the ribbons. Here's one where I am inking the background. I like to use these blending brushes because that's just how I seem to get the most even inking. And then one of my favorite techniques with the Tim Holtz inks is to spritz it with a little bit of water and then pick it up using a towel, and it gives you a really cool mixed media look where it's like there's little droplets around it. And so I did that, and then I'm also adding some pearlescent medium from Sizzix over the top of this stencil as well, so it looks like little snowflakes on this tag. Here's an example of a journaling card that I cut in half, and that's because I didn't need the whole design. I just wanted a little piece of it, and I picked it because it still had some things going on in the background, but it wasn't quite as busy, so I thought that putting this moose in front of it would help it pop up a little bit. And when I add animals or even people ephemera like this, I don't like them to just be floating in the air, so this one is floating a little bit, so I am putting some flowers beneath its feet to look like it's standing on the flowers a little bit. I didn't shape the leaves with the paper shaping tool, but I did want them to have a little more dimension, so I'm adding some foam dots to their backs, but you could definitely shape these as well and give them more dimension without using the foam. When making tags like this, I like to make sure that the backs aren't ugly or it's just like a mess in the back or there's just a little bit of paint or anything. So if I get it messy at all, I like to cover it with patterned paper or paint over it or something. So with this tag, I'm using one of the larger journaling cards and just putting it over there so that it doesn't look messy. And also this gives it a lighter background, so it'll be better for writing. I'll also use some of the more heavily patterned paper ones, but then I make sure to add like a little plain box somewhere on it where you can add the to and from. You could stamp out the to or from. I like to write it with calligraphy. So now I've put them all in the box. I wanted to make sure that it would look nice and full and good on its own like that. But now I'm going to start pulling them out and start putting on the ribbons or whatever other embellishments I think it might need. I had originally planned on painting the card file box and adding garland to it and embellishments, but once I got the tags in there, I really thought that that was all it needed, was just the tags, and then I just added the little bit of Dollar Horse design into the slit in the front, and I was happy with that. It is a really cool little wood box, so it really doesn't need anything. Like I said, I was going to paint it. I was going to use some chalk paint so it looked a little distressed, but it's perfectly good as is too. How I like to add my ribbon is I'll add a strand or two through the hole, and then I'll wrap around that and tie a bow there. I think this looks a little neater, and you can add multiple different colors of ribbon. Or one of my favorite things to add is tulle or mesh. I got some of this gray mesh that I've been adding to tags for a long time, and it goes a long way because it stretches out and adds a little fluff, but it's light, and I just like the look of it. This way, on each of my tags, I have two different types of either ribbon or twine or mesh, and I can layer them so they all look different. Another step that I wanted to add when adding all of the ribbon is adding some of these pearl gems from Graphic 45 as well. And what I like about these is they're not super shiny, they're more matte, and I thought they just worked really well. I also thought it would be cute if I added a different type of tag, and I thought it would just look good in the box with the rest of the tags. So I had these wood slices that I drilled a hole through, and then it's just really simple. I'm just stamping one image using black ink, and then I'll fill the hole with some ribbon, and it's just another type of element and another type of tag to add. And here's a final look at all of my finished tags. I think they turned out super cute. They all have patterned paper on the backs and a lot of the metal embellishments as well. If you have any questions about how I made any of these or want to know what embellishments I used on them, just let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching.